So today we're going to be doing a full tour of the fish room. Now, it's been 2 months since I did one of these, and the last time I did one of these, the room looked a lot different. So I thought today would be a good day to do it. It's a Sunday here. I'm not sure when this video will be out, but the room's looking amazing right now. I've got it all cleaned up, and I thought that we'd just do like a walkthrough, talk about the tanks and all the breeding projects that are going on. There's a lot more going on now than there was last time. So sit down, grab a coffee, grab a cup of tea, grab a drink, and enjoy this video because I'm going to talk all about these tanks, and it's not going to be short, but there's lots and lots to watch. And I'm sure that if you guys love fish and fish breeding and planted tanks as much as I do, then you will absolutely love this video. So I'm going to start off. I've got my tea here. It's actually a little bit too hot to drink still, but I'm going to go through the room, talk about each tank. I've got my ponds as well outside, and we're just gonna have a good time. So we'll start off with this rack here. This is a new rack of tanks that I built since the last episode, and I was talking about these in the last episode, so that's kind of cool. These are primarily breeding tanks. So I've set up a couple to be like kind of aquascapey, but for the most part, I use all of these tanks for breeding fish. So you can see there's tons of acaras down here, and they just look so cool schooling. And then down here I've got some like things I'm growing out. I'm going to use this tank as growouts. So I want to use these two tanks for like what I'm doing with the acaras, like growing out huge batches of fish. They're actually pretty big tanks. I think they're 3 foot long by 2 foot deep by 2 foot high, I think. So when you think about it, that's like a massive volume of water. They were a pain in the bum to put in, but it's done. And now I've got like that mini indoor pond look, which is what I wanted, because how mesmerizing is it watching all those little, tiny little fish swimming around like that? So these tanks in the middle, I'm using for like first stage grow out, and I'm spawning some fish in some of them. And then these top tanks are like spawning tanks as well. These are low boys. They're 2 foot long, 3 foot wide by 20 centimeters high. So they're very, very low, but they're actually really interesting, and they've worked well for breeding some certain fish that I was struggling with. So they're really useful for that. But we'll start off by giving them all some bug buffet, because I want them to come out, and I'll show you how the bug buffet works. So we're actually getting the packages redone soon, which is going to be kind of cool. But we'll feed the acaras a bunch of it. So it's like a powdery pellet sort of thing. This stuff's a breeder's blend, so using that dust for like breeding is really, really useful. But the pellets are nice too, because you'll see the acaras go down and attack them. And the thing is with a food like this, especially when you're breeding fish, you really want it to break up, because that way you get like a nice even feed throughout the batch, so you don't get like 2 or 3 big fish just like hogging it. These are a little bit camera shy. I don't know why. But yeah, these are electric blue acaras. I got these from Adrian, and I got them as tiny, tiny fry when I did a tour of his place. So you guys should definitely go and check that out. But I took them home, and I've been growing them out, and now they're this size. So pretty soon they'll be big enough to go to the store, and we are going to have a boatload of them. There's also, I think it's maybe worth mentioning, some blue-eyed lemon plecos that I'm growing out to breed soon. So I don't know how long they're going to take. They actually came into our store as well with a local breeder, so I thought, what better of an opportunity to pick some up. I got like 7 or 8 of them and put them in this tank to grow out, because I love breeding bristlenose. I think they're really, really fun, and yeah, they're cool. So in this tank, I have some albino corydoras, which might seem as a surprise to some people because they are such a common fish. But I was watching Tanks for Nothing, and his video had like a huge school of baby corydoras, and they're all albinos, and I thought, I don't know, I really want to breed them again. So I ended up picking up some of these as well from the store, and I've just been growing them out a tiny bit before I just do 1 or 2 big, massive batches of them, and then probably take them back because it'll be too many fish. But the cooler thing in here is, besides this beautiful betta, which I have been breeding with, she's very stunning, but she doesn't like the camera. The fish next to her is a hoplo catfish. Now these I got from the store. I don't know where they're from, maybe from down south. I put them in here to grow out because I want to do a hoplo cat breeding tank. So these guys are pretty cool. A lot of people don't really know about them. They're a bubble nest brooding catfish. So they make a bubble nest like the betta, but I think you can keep them in planted tanks. I'm not entirely sure, but they're just a really cool fish. Like, they're a little medium-sized catfish, so they don't get like super massive, but I'm gonna kind of highlight this fish a little bit more in some future videos because I want to breed them, because how cool would it be to have a swarm of these? But I want to set up a tank and play around with them and learn about them. So they're definitely fans of the bug, aren't they? How good. But yeah, so that's what's going on in these two bottom tanks. They're gonna not be around for a while. I've got a new rack of tanks going in here, which you guys will just have to wait for a little bit. I'm getting the tanks built right now. I'm gonna move those hoplos into a tank over there, and the corys are probably gonna be in a spawning tank over there as well. So while we're on the topic of it, the plan is, so I've got like these cube tanks here. There's gonna be 2 more cubes there, and I'm gonna do a little thin layer of small breeding tanks again. And there's gonna be this one huge low boy up the top here, which I'm very excited about. And I'm also gonna be adding a huge low boy up the top over here too. So how cool is that gonna be? I'm planning on putting some zebs and stuff in there, and it's gonna be amazing. I'm very, very excited. All right, we'll go up to these middle tanks. So in this first tank here, we have my first batch of koi angel babies, and look how well they're growing. They actually have amazing genetics. So I used to have koi angels in the past, but they used to have this blushing gene, and you'd get a bunch of angels within your batch that were white with the like pink cheeks, and some people like it, but it does look a little bit like ammonia burn. So some people don't know that, and they think the fish is sick. But these guys aren't throwing out any of those genes, so I'm very, very happy because, yeah, they're just going to be so cool to grow out, and I can't wait to like try and line breed them. I'm planning on trying to take the best ones out of this lot and breed them again and again and again. So I'll have these in store, I reckon, in a month. They grow so fast because I just feed them like the bug buffet like 5 times a day because this fish room is at home. So I'll feed them like 5 times a day. But then I also can do automatic water changes in here now, and it's so easy. Like, this is the best water change system I've ever set up. So the water changes, the way they work is there's a bulkhead on the back of each tank where it can overflow, and then it goes out to a gutter, which I have, and this goes out to the backyard and waters trees and stuff, which I think is really cool, and I'll show you that later. But the water just comes in. I got a plumber to install this tap for me, so that was in a video too, you guys can go and see. Basically, I've got these 2 on and off switches. I divided the room into 2 halves, so we've got like the yin side and the yang side. So it goes, I think the divide's here. So we got like 50-50. I just didn't want to have them all on the one system. If I made a really terrible mistake, I'd only kill half my fish room. So that was kind of my thought. But anyway, so I only run one thing at a time. You basically turn this on and the water's going in. So we're getting a water change on all of the tanks that I want. I can control which tank gets a water change by the valves on the top as well, you can see. And people think this stuff's like complicated. Really, it's not. It makes your fish room so much more enjoyable. Like, because I don't spend so much time with plastic buckets and, you know, hoses and stuff like that. I literally, guys, I promise you, unless I'm siphoning or cleaning the filters, I just like put it into a, like, I barely use a bucket. I just turn it on and I'll just be in here feeding during the day, and yeah, like, I really get to enjoy my fish this way. So if you are even remotely thinking about setting up anything, like even like a little rack like this, if you want this in your bedroom, please link it up to an automatic water change system. It will save you so much time. We'll go right back to this. So the next tank are Plecos rainbow fish, and you can see they're all in here now. There was a ton of green water in here, and I feed baby fish green water, so that's why the tank's green. But you need to see how small these fish are. Like, can you see that? They are tiny. These things are like an eyelash, like literally about an eyelash size. So they have tiny mouths and they're a little bit hard to feed. At the fish room, I have actually raised these up on just bug buffet alone. So you can do that, and the way I do it, it's a little bit of a fine art. I squish it up on my fingers like so there's dust all over them. And then I just take my fingers and just go like this. And that's how I dust it on the surface. And that will be a feeding for like these rainbows, but I definitely get a much better survival rate when I do that as well as feeding them green water. So I do have a green water culture outside, I'll show you. I just feed like a couple of scoops of green water, but what's coming on the green water is Daphnia. And can you see like the little water fleas that are swimming around there on the surface? Those are Daphnia. And they're like harmless to the fish. I don't think they'll eat the fish eggs. They just eat the algae, and they're actually culturing up at the same time. So what's going to happen is these rainbow fish, when they grow up, are going to have a huge feed of Daphnia, and it'll help them to grow a lot. But these are only like 7 days old. So what I do to breed them is the plecos are up here, and they're a beautiful rainbow fish, one of my favorites. I think I'll always keep them. You can see a beautiful male right there swimming in the flow. I'll see if I can attract them over too. See, look at them, they're all so well trained. They know I'm food. And they just act so natural here because I've got a huge power head. So anyways, these are the plecos rainbow fish. The way you breed them, I put that colony into a tank like this, leave them for 7 days or 10 days, pull them out and put them back in the tank. Or you can leave a mop in there. They'll spawn in the mop, then you can just take that mop out, chuck it in a tank like that, and you'll get babies. So that's how I got all of these babies here. And yeah, they're growing up well. They're gonna be beautiful, and I'm planning on just putting like 1,000 of them in here. I reckon it's gonna look so cool. So anyways, next tank, these are baby fighting fish, or bettas, or whatever you wanna call them. These are what you call, well, they're cellophane, like white ones. And we've also got like dark ones. So these are actually from the same parents. Would you believe it? So this was the boy that we were raising with. So that was the male. He's really, really good looking, huh? So this is the mum. So she's nothing special. I just thought the red color would go really well. She's actually ready to breed again. You can see that white ovipositor there. I could drop her in with a male and she'd breed again. But yeah, I don't know. She's nothing special, but I thought she'd go really well with the red hellboy. So yeah, interestingly enough, these are what the babies look like. So not really what I expected, to be honest, but I'm really enjoying watching them grow up. They're getting quite big, so they'll be ready to go to the store soon. It's fun coming down, feeding this tank, and like watching them evolve every day because their colors change. And not to mention the fact that these are like little cute micro predators, and they're really fun to like watch. They've all got like their own little individual characters and behaviors, and like, come on, look how cute that is. Isn't that the cutest little baby thing you've ever seen? And these are gonna end up being like, you know, people's like fun, like these are a real wet pet, so these could go to like a beginner in the hobby or something like that and really get them involved. But yeah, they're so cute. They do love the bug, huh? I finally had success with some of the corydoras. So these are the baby sturbays, and yeah, I've bred these before, but I just thought it's so fun seeing them like come up. I wanted to do it again, but there's one in there. Some other ones swimming around too. So they actually go really well when they're a little bit bigger with like a big school of angels like this. They're actually not like gonna bicker or anything. But yeah, here you go. There's the actual bug buffet going on down there. All right, so even cooler, in this next tank, we have the baby bettas. Well, the younger siblings of the baby bettas. So they're a lot smaller, and they are from the same parents. So there's going to be a lot of them in the store. I feed these green water from the very start, and I also feed them baby brine shrimp and bug buffet, obviously. And they grow up pretty quick once they get past like this kind of size, once I can really start getting food into them. But these are only about 3 weeks old, so in about another 3 weeks they could honestly start looking a bit like this. They just, yeah, feed them up. And you do get like big size variation, like look at the size of that one compared. So yeah, anyways, that's just more baby bettas, very, very cute. In this next tank, we have emerald rasboras. So this is a breeding group. They're so shy. I don't know. This might be the last time I breed this fish. I just want to breed up a nice big lot for the store because I want someone else to take it on and try and breed them for me because I just can't be bothered doing it anymore. But I've got a Lowell's Fish Lab tray in here, and it's so useful for catching eggs. Like they just harvest the eggs so well. But yeah, they're just so shy and it kind of annoys me. But yeah, they'll come to the front and they'll spawn in this like Java moss, lay a ton of eggs, and the eggs will fall down and it'll collect in this. Now, I'll pull it out and show you because there's gonna 100% be eggs in here. I'll pull it up really slowly. You gotta be quite delicate with this. And it's just so well engineered. He's done a very good job here at making a very good egg trap. So I'll let the water drain out like that. Oh, come on, the light sucks with this new 16 camera. All right, so you just take that off, pour out a little bit of this water. I don't know how many they've laid today. Normally they lay about 20 or 30 a day, I'd say. There's quite a few in here I can see already. All right, so those are eggs there in the middle of the screen. So there's like, I don't know how many, quite a few. What I'll do is, I'm getting off topic again, but you guys can just come with me because I think this is interesting. These are just like hatching boxes and also containers that I get from stores. I'll bring this over. This already has eggs from like 3 or 4 days worth. So I'll put about a week's worth into one container like this. But I'll come along, take this, and literally just pour it in like that. Nothing special. So I just keep a little aerator on that, and it just keeps the eggs alive. They do need oxygenation, I find. Every now and then I give this a clean off, but we're not gonna clean this today. So I'm just gonna put this down here and then connect this back up, and there you go. So I feed them a ton of brine shrimp. They don't really take to the bug buffet as well. I will feed them the bug buffet, but like they just don't eat it as much as other foods. Like they just really love live foods. I'm sure if I left them and let them starve, they'd start to eat it, but they're just a real like live food loving fish. So they lay a lot more eggs when I feed a ton of brine shrimp, and they also lay a lot more eggs when I feed like a Daphnia feeding. So I do culture up Daphnia, and that's when they start laying a lot more eggs, but they're very good for breeding for profit. More praecox fry in here. There you go, you can see these are a little bit older, and yeah, they're taking a brine shrimp now, and they still eat the bug buffet, they love it, but yeah, they grow a lot in brine shrimp. So right, that's the middle row there. Right, so I'll start talking about these two top tanks. I'm gonna get on a stand, and I'm also gonna get this bug buffet off the floor. I can't tell you how many times I've freaking knocked this over and had to clean up a bunch of dust off the floor, and comment below if you've done that. Right, we'll feed these from the start just because I can't be bothered to mess around with it. You can see they freaking love it. Look at them. They just go nuts for it. And the best time to watch these is like 2 minutes after the lights are on. They go nuts. The colors are like even better than that. And they'll just sit up in this flow and spawn in that mop. There is also 2 or 3 ficcatus in here. We'll talk about them. So I need someone to breed these for me. If you have some from Brisbane, please start breeding these, because I cannot be bothered and come sell them at the store, because I just can't do it anymore. They're just a little bit too tedious, and I just don't have the space. I love this fish. Like I love it so much, equally as much as I love the Luminatus. I've got no space for it. What I'm gonna do is set up an emergency tank down here and do a few more spawns of it. But like, they just take up a lot of room in your room once you start collecting a lot of different blue eyes and stuff. So yeah, anyways, I put them in here. They're an amazing little fish. I bred a lot of them in the past, and basically they lay their eggs in here too, and they go really well together actually. But the cool thing in here is these whiptails. So these are the raw whiptails. I've moved them from the Amazon tank in here, and the thing is, the Amazon tank's over there. We'll talk about that a bit later. The Amazon tank doesn't have any flow, and these, I put a power head in here. These low boy tanks seem to be working a treat for breeding these whiptails. So they just spawned, like not even kidding, 36 hours later, and there was eggs down here, and he was fanning away on them. I've since harvested those eggs, and they're now down here, and they've actually started to hatch today. So I'll turn the light on just so I can show you. Okay, so I'll start looking like that, and so you just pick them up, chuck them in a box like this, and leave them. I had them in here with snails, and the snails even started to kill them, and I was lucky I caught onto that. But just leave them, and they'll start hatching out, and you'll get all these little like baby sharks. And they have been a little bit tricky for me to raise, but I think I'm gonna finally crack it this time. I finally had another chance, so I'm going to try and get some of these babies up to a big size. I don't know why I've struggled so much. I've run into a few accidents, and I think that's why. So hopefully this is my time, but yeah, they just gradually hatch out, and you can get quite big batches. So yeah, I'll be talking about that in future videos, but in the tank next to this, there is 2 random fry that came in on the house plants, and I think these are lumen hudders, so I'm just going to let them grow out and see what they turn into. But these are my peppermint bristlenose. So these I've had for a long time. They survived the power outage, luckily, and I think it's due to the amount of surface area in this tank. So they survived. I just threw a bunch of caves in here. All the adults, fed them a ton of green cuisine, which is the other food I feed, so I'll give them a quick feed. It's a little bit messy in a tank like that, but these are messy fish, and to breed them, you need to feed them. So, yeah, hey. So green cuisine's like these little hard sticks. They're made of plant material, botanicals, all sorts of stuff like that, and a little bit of soybean meal, which is just the binder. So soybean meal, like, look, you have to use a binder in any food. I don't like binders because I don't want to feed my fish flour, but you do need to use binders. And so we've just decided to use a little bit of soybean meal in these. I've actually, in the new mix, made it with hemp, which is kind of funny. So anyways, I just throw a handful of that in there, and they won't straight away go for it. These are a little bit shy. Like if you have a bristlenose, they will. Other fish start to pick at it too. But if I do this like before bed, they'll come out at night and smash it all. And it is kind of like counterintuitive having a fish that you only see, you know, at night or like once every now and then. But I still think they're cool. They're great cleaners. Like you can see, there's not a speck of algae in here. So they are really good for cleaning tanks. But yeah, I just can't, I don't know. I just really enjoy having them. So you should too. There is also Pygmy cories in here. There's a nice big group of them. Funnily enough, I used to think they don't eat their babies. They definitely eat their babies. Like, they just don't eat all of them. So there's a Pygmy cory there. They spawn all the time. We'll do it right now because I've been meaning to do it. I'm gonna add spawning mops in here because last time I had spawning mops at the shop. That's the only thing I can think that was different. So hopefully these give space for the babies to survive. But the Pygmy cories, yeah, I just do a big water change. They spawn little tiny eggs everywhere, and they spawn a lot more when I feed them a lot more. That's for sure. Yeah, tons of tiny little eggs in here, and then normally I just have the babies raise up, but they have been eating them all. Maybe the other thing I can think of is the peps eat them, but I don't know. I hope not. So we'll see if this mop fixes it. I'm sure the peppermints eat a few of them. I can't imagine they can get all through the tank, but I could be wrong on that. So these are just made of acrylic yarn, and there's heaps of videos on how to make these. They're not rocket science. I just throw these in the back, I think. There we go. Okay. That's gonna get really mank, so I'm probably gonna throw it out when I'm done with it, but we'll see if that makes a difference. But yeah, that's what's going on with this rack. We'll turn off the lights and go to the next one. Also, I forgot to talk about one of the coolest things. In this fry tray are baby stir-bait cories. Here, ready? Watch this. Look at them. So I finally figured out how to raise them up. They actually do okay with these mystery snails, as far as I know. I don't think the mystery snails can eat them because they're just a little bit too like smart. A little bit of bug buffet dust. I put that in there and make like a milk for the first few days. I don't feed any brine. They do choke on the brine shrimp. Oh, stupid camera. And yeah, for the first few days, feed that. After they hatch, like you have to wait right until they hatch. Some make it, some do, some don't. But feed the bug buffet, and then after 3 or 4 days, you can start feeding brine. Like you can probably start to feed brine to these when they're just a little bit bigger. I just don't trust it. But yeah, I don't know. So that's the tray there. Alrighty, so this is my next wall of tanks. This is a really cool wall. These are all like bigger tanks. So these are 2 foot by 2 foot by 1.5 foot width, I think. But I really like the depth that I get with these. It's really good. So I've got 4 of them. Got some little breeding tanks here and things going on. These aren't connected to the water change system, but that's on purpose because they're just for spawning. I can either have spawning tanks here, or I can remove all these tanks and put like shelving there, but these are probably just going to always be spawning tanks because I need them. And then these are just 3 foot by 1 foot. These are standard 3 foot tanks here. So yeah, we're going to go through all of these. But let's start down here because he's out. This is Crush. This is my Yabby. Got him from the outback. He's an electric blue Yabby. Look at that. How cool is that? He doesn't actually mess with these fish too bad, but in here, these are Godids. These are Eisenai, I think. I've got to get that confirmed. They could be something else, but they look absolutely amazing in here. This is definitely their tank. I used to have them by themselves and I added them in here, and the tank's looking so much better. They breed in here. They're a live bearer, so they do give birth to live babies. And they don't breed like as much as guppies, but once they get kicking, they really get going. So having a nice big colony of them helps. But when they're first born, they can be eaten by the parents. The parents like just spread them out and will eat them if they're hungry. But having like rocks and stuff around like this is what saves me. So the babies go and hide under the rocks, and yeah, it works out well. But this is kind of like a nice little ecosystem that's going on. I do have a super red bristlenose here to clean up algae. So that's why the tank's kind of looking quite clean of algae. And these apparently are really good like for blackbeard and stuff. So I'm going to see if that's true. It might not be for blackbeard, it might be for a different type of algae, but we'll see what happens. But yeah, you can see the little babies picking at the walls. So I think that's what stops the algae growing. But funnily enough, there's cherry shrimp in here. So I can keep the Godids with cherry shrimp. And there's actually baby Yabbies in here. So there's little ones. I think, is this Crush again? Yes, it is Crush again. That must be somewhere he normally feeds from. Here he is. This is an awesome little wet pet. I'm never getting rid of him. It's like a underwater insect. It's so strange. Look at him. Look how strong they are. These are destructors. So, Charax destructor. And yeah, like once I get a little pellet of green cuisine in here, he just goes nuts for it. But it might take him a while to find them because he's kind of like a little bit blind, I think. So you can see they're not like the smartest things, but they're just, you know, perfectly made little insects. They're like so cool. They're not freaking insects, but you know what I'm saying. So yeah, that's what's going on in here. Cool tank. I've also put like botanicals and stuff in here too. So yeah, that's kind of cool. Okay, so this tank is awesome. This one's still recovering after the power outage. This one just got nuked like crazy, and it's just building up the bacteria again and getting on top of that nitrogen cycle. Basically what happens is if you have a power outage, the way it kills the fish, and this is what I had to explain from my last video, the way it kills the fish, I think, is it kills all the biological media straight away because that relies on oxygenation. So you have no biological like filtration going on, and plus the fish poop that's inside the filter, if you have any, just instantly creates ammonia, and then it just absolutely dies and kills all of the bacteria in there, and you basically have to start your entire nitrogen cycle from scratch. So you can see this one's struggling with the nitrogen cycle right now because there's just not a lot of plants, and I do give this one a ton of water changes, but it still just doesn't keep up with what was like previously in here. Like look at all that like old dead bacteria stuff down there. So it's just recovering and it'll be back soon. But like this one, you can see the ammonia cycle is like on top. But this one has the house plants and like everything's working together. It's a little ecosystem. This one's just taking a little bit of time. So yeah, that's kind of how it works. But these are just Senegal barshes. I've got 4 of them. I used to have 5. I lost one feeding them fish. It choked on it and that kind of sucked. But I feed these earthworms all the time and they absolutely love them. And I unfortunately ended up with 4 males. So I'm gonna have to get some more and I'm gonna have to grow them out again. So that's part of the annoying thing about being a breeder. You gotta wait a little bit of time, but I'm gonna try and breed them at some point. So they're very cool, fun to feed. They love bug buffet. They do make a bit of a mess of it, but you can feed them it. But like, yeah, be prepared. There is gonna be a little bit of a mess, and that's what these snails are in here for. So these are just Congo tetras. I ended up spawning a ton of them. It was so cool. I'll show you their tank now as well while we're here, because you do want to see these babies. Have a look at this tank. These are all Congo tetra babies. So I've just been feeding them bug buffet and brine shrimp and they've been rearing up really well. I also gave them a ton of green water to start with. They've ended up eating all of that now, and they've also started transitioning. So they'd be like, this is a pretty good lot. I'd say it's probably about 200, 250. So I'm very excited about that. I'm gonna hopefully be able to raise them all up to a nice size, because how cool will it be to have like a bunch of big Congo tetras like swarming around in one of those tanks. Like that's just gonna be so awesome. So yeah, anyways, Congo tetra babies. This is my zebra pleco tank. Now, this tank's finally recovered, but oh my God, I've got some stories to tell you about it. So I made a vlog talking about this power outage. It just completely killed all of these tanks here. They really struggled just because they were, to be honest, overstocked for that tank, but I've got them back to a bit of a balance now. But yeah, they just died straight away. I only on the day lost one zeb, and I've already lost one this year. I originally had 9, so I'm down to now 7. I originally lost 1. It seems that the ammonia just burned a bunch of them, and I since lost another 2. So yeah, kind of sucks a lot. What's that, 4? So we're now down to 5, I think, as far as I'm concerned, but we'll see. I think everything happens for a reason. You can't kick yourself for this is a hobby where we're playing with nature in a box. I've explained this before. It's basically like flying until you crash. It's like one of those hobbies like model aircrafts. You have a model aircraft, it's good until you crash it, and that's what fish tanks are like. So it does happen. We just have to make sure we mitigate our risks. But I lost them. I had those fish for years, and I was crying. I was actually really upset, to be honest. I was so upset when they died. So yeah, RIP Zebs, but we do have babies, so that's what happens. They're just like little water puppies to me. But I also in here have whitefin ornate tetras. These have been spawning like crazy, so I have to pull them out and breed them. They just go over this bulbitis in this crypt every single day and spawn like crazy. And I ended up with a perfect breeding group. 2 females and the rest are males. That's exactly what you want. So yeah, I'm gonna be trying to spawn these, and we'll look forward to that. But yeah, there's like zebs in here. I'll grab a flashlight. Here, have a look. What do we got? Yeah, so there's a tail there. Can you see that? Yep, tail there. They're just, emotionally recovering as well. They just take a long time to trust you, and so I'm just working them back up. They've had a lot of moving around and stuff, which isn't good, so they really need to just be settled. To get them to breed, I only kept them in the one place for like a year and a half, and then they just eventually went. So they just have to settle in, and yeah. But sad to report, but I also, in this tank, have these gold laser corys, and I have a breeding pair of these super red bristlenose. So they've bred once. He left the babies, which really annoyed me, I think, obviously because of that ammonia spike. But there's 2 females in here that are definitely going to want to breed with him. I do have a peppermint bristlenose in here, just helping clean up. Some cherry shrimp and stuff swimming around in here, and a couple mystery snails, and the floor is absolutely littered with blackworms for me to feed to the corys that are in here. There's gold lasers in here, but they're just so shy. They're such an annoying little fish, because you want, to see your fish, and you just don't really see them because they're too shy. So yeah, that's that tank. This one I ended up losing all of the 201s. That sucked like crazy, because same story with the zebs, but the stir-bay corys survived and have been spawning like absolute crazy. And these are my big school of neons. Now we're definitely gonna feed this some bug buffet, because this is a perfect tank to feed it to. I actually bred all these neons, and I'm trying to spawn them again. So wish me luck with that. But we're gonna go give these some food. There we go, wow. Right, I ended up spawning these last year, and yeah, these are all the babies. They've all grown out to adult size. So I've been putting pairs in these containers. I've just set up another one because I'm going to run it over again and see if it helps to not have the peat in there. But I'm going to throw some more pairs in here. I ended up getting a couple spawns, but I don't think they were fertilized, so I'm just going to run it again. Basically, that's how I've been breeding them. Put the pairs in, leave them for a couple days, pull the pairs out, and then you start seeing if you got babies. If you got babies, you got babies, and you grow them out to this size, and you get a really cool tank like this. But the sturbays breed all the time. There is actually eggs here. They've come around and eaten them, which is pissing me off. But sometimes when they hide them in these corners of the tank, they don't get nailed as much. So you can just like leave some plants at the back of your tank and they'll spawn on them and you can harvest from there. Because the thing is, you can't pick them straight away. They do need to harden up for about 1 or 2 hours. So after that 1 or 2 hours, you can come back and get them and not pop them. There's some spawning behavior there with the neons. They just bred right in front of us. Doesn't that piss you off when it works right there, but not up there? So anyways, yeah, so I'll pick those eggs and then do the whole tray thing. I talked about that. But yeah, that's what's going on with these guys. So I'm really pleased with the way this tank looks as well. Just like all the cherry shrimp and everything like that. Look at this little dude as well. I think that one was a younger one. But yeah, I don't know how many sturbays there are in there, but I'm trying to get the school up. So I want a big, nice, massive school of them. All right, over here, we've got my baby zebra plecos. So if you have a look, they are in here and they're growing out nicely. That's an exoskeleton there of the riffle shrimp that's in here. So it's really cool to watch them. I collected them and I unfortunately lost a lot of them. But here are the zebs. They've just been wormed. I'm going to worm them again just to make sure that they're all, you know, happy, healthy fishies. But these are going to be the next breeding group. So I'm not, you know, I didn't lose everything. And this is the whole Eric Bodrock thing. Don't put all your eggs in one basket. If you've got a fish like this, split them up because this saved my butt. Now, like imagine if I didn't have these backups, I'd be relying on those 4 to go again and I would have just sold these and yeah, it's stupid. So I'm in these for the long run. I just really, really like them. Look at that. That's got to be my favorite fish in the entire hobby. I can never not love this fish. They're just... How do you get a freshwater fish like that? Like, that's just the most beautiful thing I've ever seen. So, here, look at these ones too. There's some more in here. They love hiding the sponge filter, so I don't mind because they just sit there and that's where all the extra food gets sucked up to, so fair enough. But we'll check under here too. Have a look. Even more. So I don't know how many there are. I know I did lose a few, growing them out. I'm not sure what to. I mean, this tank does need a lot of cleaning. Like, I freaking cleaned this 3 days ago and it's looking like this again. So it's time to siphon it. But yeah, nice breeding tank. Well, not breeding tank, spawning tank. But the plan is with them, they're going to go up here on the low boy. I'm just going to have cave, and just like flow. And like white sand, and I want to breed something to put up there that's like through the water. So yeah, I'm looking forward to doing that. You know, have like all the tanks down here. It'll just be like the best looking stuff ever. So we do have that boy there, the placat, and that's that. All right, and in this bottom tank here, we have my Aru blue eyes. Look at them. Got them in there. They breed in all of these plants. This is a planted tank. So it's finally started to like really take off. I'm not sure what it is. I think it's just, you know, found that little bit of balance. I'm going to throw some fertilizer in here today and turn the water changes off of it and just let it have like a nice big soak of fertilization. But the water changes definitely help some plants to grow, but not others. So it's just been interesting learning about plants again. It's one thing I never really got into. I started growing planter tanks as a kid, but I never went the plant side. I more went the fish side, I guess, and went to breed fish. So there are some little baby ones that have been raising up in here as well. So that kind of saves my butt. But I do have a spawning mop. They lay like a few eggs in there, and that's just enough for me to pick and keep the population going. So yeah, there is coolie loaches in here too, but we hardly ever see them. And there's a ton of red cherry shrimp in here too. I think there's a riffle shrimp in here somewhere, but I don't really see them. And yeah, I don't know, I really like this tank. It's actually worked out nicely. Tanks sometimes are just like a bit like fine wine. They just need a little bit of age and then they start to look amazing. So if you saw this tank when I first set it up, it sucked, but 3 months later, 4 months later, now you're starting to get something that you really do want to look at. So I'm really pleased with how this one's going. All right, and then lastly, these are the spawning tanks. So I was trying to breed harlequins, nothing worked. In here I've got babies of those rasboras. So these are like the next stage. So after this I'll put them in a growout tank like this one and raise them up in here with brine shrimp, and they do pretty well. And then from there I'm gonna have to add them to like a growout tank, but at that point I'll just clump them all together. In here, these are blue eyes. When I hatch my blue eyes out, I put them in a tank like this. So if I wanted to collect some of those limonitis eggs or pseudomogul eggs that I was just talking about, in here with a bit of meth blue and some aeration, when I start getting ones that hatch out, they go in a tank like this with the eggs and everything. Then I start feeding them green water. And they keep growing until I keep feeding them, and then I just, they stop eating the green water and they only eat the, what's it called? The brine shrimp that I feed them. But you can't see them because they're just a schooling fish, but if I put my hand at the back, a bunch of fry will come forward. So there's a lot of them in here. I need to move these into their final grow out. I'm just waiting for some space. But you'd think this tank's really like dirty and out of balance. It's actually okay. Like, I give it that old smell test, absolutely fine. Taste the water, it's fine. I don't really measure stuff, I just look at what it's doing and it works out, so that way I'm not running around testing all these tanks and trying to figure out what the heck's going on. I just let nature do its thing, throw some plants in there, work, and it's like an ecosystem. So yeah, that's what's going on here. These are really useful to have. I'm probably going to set up some of those ornate tetras in here. I'll probably do that next week and see if I can't get them to breed. Right, this is the next rack of tanks. Here, these are just 2-foot tanks, and I've set them up so they're parallel, and I can't wait for that top one. It's just gonna really finish off this wall. But these are mostly like spawning things, and I don't know, they're just, whatever they are, they are. I just kind of leave these tanks, as long as they look good, and I think that's because they're on their side. But how mesmerizing it is, like a cloud of fry up there, like you got like a little slice of an African lake there, you know, I don't know, all of the different ecosystems. It's just cool to just go boom, 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 and just like look at them, little bite-sized mini ones. So these remind me a lot, I think, of being a kid when you're only allowed one tank like this. So, you know, if you wanted to breed fish, that's what your tank would look like. So these are the Congos. They're so fun. Look at them. Down here, these are the black ocellatus that Adrian gave me. Now, he did give me 3. I lost 1. So I'm now down to 2. I think I've got 2 boys. I'm not sure because they haven't bred for like 3 or 4 months. And I'm just wondering, is it one of those ones you just gotta wait? Like, I've seen breeding behavior, or at least sparring. So I kind of want to get a female in here and just make sure that they start going. But he just hangs out of that shell like all the time. There's the other ones just around. And yeah, Daphnia, stuff like that. Still haven't cracked it. But in the meantime, it's really grown in. So it's got that white aragonite down the bottom just to help with buffering the water up. But there's a ton of Anubias in here. It seems to really like the high pH. And so does this Vallisneria. Is really growing well with a lot of that mineral in the water. So yeah, there's these little shells. This is a cool one. They breed in the shells. So the male will trap a female in there, I think, and like they'll spawn and then like they'll take, I don't know how the whole process works. I'm just talking out of my bum here. So I need to figure out how they do and play around with these, but this is a cool little tank. Here, this is a ram breeding tank. Nothing special here, just some ambulia and some val and a pair of rams. They did breed on this rock the other day. They bred on the back before, but I only got like a couple fry. So I just need a really good breeding pair here to get my rhythm back with breeding this fish. And also their genetics just is like not very good, so. But yeah, they're a nice little looking one, aren't they? You just keep breeding them until you get the darkest ones, and you know, some of them look really jet black and some of them look like this. I think this is actually a really cool little fish though. There's a guy, I think, breeding these in Australia, so I might hit him up and try and get a thing of them. I think it's Ben's Fish World, so hopefully I buy a few of them and get babies. All right, up here. This is a cool looking tank. This is a tank with a new colony of Harlequin rasboras that I'm growing out. I just ordered 200 at the shop, so I'm gonna definitely be adding to this group and trying to get these to spawn because I am hell-bent on it. I just think I'm just suffering with a breeding group, so it's time to bolster it up and I'll try and figure them out. But that's pretty much just all that's going on in here. So just some Harlequin rasboras, but the plants look amazing. There's crypts, there's water wisteria, vallisneria, you know, Anubias is here. I think this one's like Nana. I don't know what that one is. And yeah, it's just pretty. So in here, these are the Luminatus colony. They really like this tank. This is just washed sand for like AstroTurf, I think. And it's actually really nice. It does build up mulm quick, so I've got to siphon this out. I should have done this before the video, but I didn't because I forgot. This is a bristlenose pair that I've got in here. The male's been sitting and hanging around. I've been wanting them to breed, but they just haven't done it yet. I don't know why. They just, I don't know. I think I haven't been feeding them enough, so I've been feeding them a lot more. Hopefully they're going to start breeding. I mean, they're bristlenose, so I know I'm going to breed them, but yeah, I don't know. I've just been kind of struggling with it. And when I say struggling, I just didn't get them to breed in like the first 3 weeks. So hopefully they breed within these next 2 months, and yeah, we'll get a ton of babies from them. But these are the mops. They lay eggs in there, and I picked them in, you know, the whole process. So they're just a really cool one. I'm definitely going to keep these. I know a lot of people want them, and they're definitely near and dear to my heart for some reason. I just think because of the color. What a cool colored blue eye. I mean, what comes out of the wild that's red like that? Like, it's not very common. So, you know, I can imagine the comments just coming in, like commenting 1,000 different fish, but you know what I mean. Okay, this tank, I think it struggled a little bit with the power outage, so that's why it's looking a little bit cloudy. There is so many baby cichlids in here. This is the Episto pair pair. They bred. They have all these babies, and now the pair's trying to keep breeding, but I think the babies are eating the new babies that come out. So they've definitely got babies right now. I mean, I don't know. If I spawn too many of these, then we're going to have a problem. I have the babies growing out with the Acaras over there. So hopefully they all grow out okay. I just didn't really have enough room, and I thought, you know, they would grow better by themselves, but surely they'll be okay with the Acaras. So hopefully they learn to fight for their food, because otherwise they will not survive. But yeah, I've been having a really easy time breeding these. I think I'm just going to take the pair out and throw the pair in with the Amazon tank, and then just let the babies grow out in here until they're big enough. But yeah, pistos are fun. I think it's like a subcategory of the hobby, so I need to like get into dwarf pistos if I do that. So I don't know, just talking out my bum. Here's that growout tank, we'll skip that. And then up here, this tank is my nothing tank. No, this actually has Hillstream loaches in it. So I've just doubled up the sponge filter, you can do that, and added my little modification here to make it like flow. But this is going to be a Hillstream loach breeding tank. I have a colony of them in here now. And would you believe it? So what happened was I left a few of these at the shop. Again, don't keep all your eggs in one basket. I left a few of these in a tank out the back in the shop just in case something happened here. But I put them, they're all in this tank breeding, my first group. Power outage, lost all the big ones. All the babies survived, but lost all of the big ones. I think that was just like, they need a lot of oxygen in the water. They can't do like no oxygen in the water. They just don't like it. So what I did was, yeah, they all died. I had luckily pulled out one female, and I was just going to slowly pull them out. I only had females, and all the ones at the shop are females. I had one male, and luckily he's in here. He's huge. He's a brute. So next week, I didn't do it before this vlog because I ran out of time. So next week, we're going to be setting up a new breeding tank, and we're going to make it in here so that I spawn a bunch more. And then these ones will be ready for the shop. I can break this tank down, and then yeah, they're a heavy load fish. They're just one that there's a lot of setups take down for me. I haven't figured out a way to like spawn them the other way. So yeah. Now this is a cool little wall over here. This is just like some artwork. That's a check from the Pasco County Aquarium, I think, club. Yeah, the Aquarium Club. I did a talk there this time last year, and they paid me $100 US. So I didn't cash it. I just framed the check because I thought it was cool to kind of get paid to just like talk to people at a club, but I don't really intend on ever making money doing that. But I thought it was just funny, so I framed it, and there's the card. So thank you everyone who wrote me a card. You know, someone might be on there if you were at the club. Have a look. But anyways, yeah, so This is a painting I did a couple of years ago. This is from my editor Rena. Look at that handmade artwork. Over here I've got my ram that I did a couple of years ago. The ornamental fish farming book. Oh my God, that book is like my Bible. It's such a good book. And then yeah, branch and patch trees. I just added this little IKEA light just because I think it makes it look like a little bit nicer. I wanted a lava lamp, but this is as good as you can get it as a lava lamp in a fish room. So I also got this from IKEA. I just want to keep my branch room nice and organized. So like nice little scoop in here. This is my inspiration from Dean's fish room, you know, trying to keep everything tidy. And the branch room. And yeah, keep it fish simple sign. Someone gave me this at the Pasco County thing as well. Thank you so much. I wish I remembered your name, but I don't. So, but yeah, anyways, the artwork's here. And then my plaque. Who cares about that? Anyways, this tank is the Amazon tank. This did okay. Oh, there you go. Angels are breeding at the back. So they're hiding their eggs from me, little turds. So I'm going to come and harvest those, I think, because I want more babies of you. But this tank did okay with the ammonia crash. In fact, I think it actually helped me out by killing off the weaker fish that are in here. So everything in here is really, really strong. I think they actually are all South American fish, which is cool because it's kind of a biotope. The plants aren't a biotope, but the fish are. So this is kind of what it would definitely look like in nature, except for the snails, obviously. Okay, it's not a biotope. This is a rabbit snail. I've been trying to breed them in here. I haven't had any babies yet. I'm crossing my fingers that I get some. So yeah. And then we've got some rams. We have emperor tetras. What else have we got? Rummy nose tetras and cardinal tetras. I want to try and breed all of these tetras, but before I breed all of them, I need to start working on these ones. So it just takes a while to get through these projects, but the point isn't to get through them. The point is to enjoy it while you do it. So we can't do everything at once. We'll just go bang, dun, 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 and make sure we do the whole list. Even if it takes us the next 10 years, we're doing it. And we're going to enjoy it every day. We're not going to like wait to get to the end of the next project. That's an important thing to remember with this hobby. You've got to take your time, enjoy it. So this is Pepzilla. This is the big peppermint in here. And Pepzillette, I hope. We'll see if they breed at some point. Back up again, what I just tell you guys, never, you know, put all your eggs in one basket, please. It will save your butt. I think I've got every single fish in here except for like the royal whiptails in 2 tanks as far as I'm concerned. So no one double checked that, but I'm pretty sure. I've also got this yellow Hellboy betta in here. Turns out he's a terrible father. It's terrible. He's killed 4 batches of babies, so I've just decided, you know what, you can go in here by yourself. I love you, but I'm sick of trying to breed you. But yeah, so that's what's going on in here. I do intend to breed everything in here. Oh, guys, what are we talking about? We've also got the babies. Up here, these are baby angels. These are well worth having a quick little look at. Look at that little patch down there in the middle. So those are the baby angels. They're probably gonna freeze them in 2 days, I'd say. What I do, this is a little bit of a fine art here. I'm gonna have to make a dedicated video on how to breed these angels. What I do, I have the jar here. I put this, like one of those jars up there. I put the eggs in, I change the water every day, and I put a drop of methylene glue in there. I just make sure I keep that water nice and clean, so I will change it like every single day until they are about this size, which I transfer them to a tray, and then they'll start free swimming. I've got these plants in here so they can start picking at them. The second they start free swimming, I feed, and they get bug buffet. They get a little bit of green water if I feel like it. They don't always need it, but I will do it. And brine shrimp, and they just grow up really, really beautifully. And then you will have a really cool school of them. And how cool is it? These are starting to get a little bit bigger, so that's how you get the angels. But yeah, sorry, I just woke them up. So yeah, the other thing that's cool is we have whiptail eggs. Look at this. So these are common whiptails, I call them. I did a water change in here. I hope this guy's not going to come pester this one because I do not want him to play around with the eggs too much. They will clean the bad ones and eat them, so don't be alarmed. But they, yeah, take care of their eggs like this. They lay them on the glass. He's fanning them, you can see. It's very cool. What I'm going to do is the exact same as I've been doing with these royal whiptails. and try and raise them up. It's just a little bit of a fine art raising these little whiptails. So they are very cool little catties though. So I do want to make a ton of them, but there's more. Look at here, dun, 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 dun. Another one bred on the same day. So this tank is working beautifully for breeding these, and I'm wondering if the royal whiptails were pissing them off. So I took the royal whiptails out, they started breeding, and the royals went. So maybe it's time for me to do that with the red lizard whiptails that are also in here. I only see them when I feed. Let's feed this tank. Come on, this will be fun. I do have a fish food brand and company after all, so it's time to start making sure that this actually works, because yes, all right guys, I do make money when you buy this food, but trust me, it's been a lot of hard work to try and get to even getting to this stage, and there's going to be a lot of hard work if I ever start, you know, going even further with it. So please support me and buy this stuff. It's really, really good food. I love it. I use it on everything. So yeah. Anyways, this, the ad done. Come and look. All right, ready? I just do this. There you go. Boom. Looks messy. Works really well. Messy is good when it comes to bug buffet. You don't want to feed too much. Like, this is a ton of food for this tank, but I need to make sure everyone eats. So everyone will eat. And the reason this is so good and the reason the fish love it so much is because its first ingredient is actual insects. Would you believe it or not? That actually works. So that's why. So they love it. The angels grow well on it. They've given up cleaning that leaf to eat. So that tells you how bad they want it. These cories are the parents. They're not as colourful as I want them to be. So the next lot, I'm going to pick out the ones that are nicer than this, and we're just going to work back to where we were headed years ago and finish this off, because I really want to get it done. Look, even the bristlenose likes the bug buffet, but the tetras get a little bite. I have noticed there's been some skinny rams in here. Why do I think? I'm not sure. Might be an internal parasite, but it's going to be way too hard to clean it out. So what we're going to do is let whoever survives survive, and hopefully we can just keep breeding them and replace them until the issue dies off and the fish are stronger. So this is just like natural selection from here for the breeding stock, which I'm happy with. I don't want fish that, you know, look at that. That's just not good enough. Like, some fish can handle internal parasites, and like, I don't know, they're one of those things. I think they just eventually die off once you get enough strong fish. So I'm just gonna sound like a total idiot, but if I start getting skinny rams and there's internal parasites or something like that, I don't worry, I just leave it, because it's not affecting the other fish. It's clearly a ram issue. And then we'll just make the rams better as we go on. So yeah, that's what's going on in here. Where are those red lizards? Maybe that'll be a B-roll thing, because they might take a few minutes to come out. They're kind of stupid. Now this tank obviously has the whiptails, but in here's the other adult colony of these harlequin rasboras. I am dead certain there's males and females in here, but I just don't think I have enough fish. What I'm going to do is take the males from the other batch and try and just do like 3 or 4 males with 1 female and see if I can't get them to spawn. But yeah, that's the story with them. But they look really cool in here. There's a ton of baby Hillstreams in here that did survive. So like I said, definitely an oxygen issue, not a bacteria death thing. Not an ammonia spike just yet. I think that was just about to save this tank. So, but yeah, lots and lots of hydra in here, because I've been feeding a mountain of brine shrimp in here to try and fatten everyone up. And I've been feeding so much that they can't keep up with it. So these fish all have little bellies and they take a while to fatten up, but we're working on it. So yeah, it's really come into itself. I'm pretty happy with how this tank's going. It's just, you know, obviously with the tray there, it looks a little shit, but the houseplants look nice in there. I've got a mountain of videos on houseplants I use, so please go watch those. But yeah, there's actually also one big mama there, so it's definitely an oxygen issue. But yeah, look, there's actually emerald rasboras, and they've started to actually be confident enough to come out, which is freaking amazing, because it's about time. They just were so shy. So I do feed this a ton of bug buffet as well. This one is, you know, you feed it and you come back in 15 minutes and it looks amazing. Tank, not like a instant gratification one. And I'm sure these harlequins are already full, but see if they come and eat some of this bug. You guys hungry? Yeah, this one's like a little aquascape. Jason set this up for me and showed me how to stack rocks like that, which was very useful because I couldn't figure it out, and I did. So yeah. Well, I think that's it for the room now. So what we're gonna do, sorry, I know I ran out a bit, like you guys were looking forward to seeing the rest. So what we're gonna do is go outside and have a look at my ponds and my garden. Hopefully it's not too hot. It's starting to get into the afternoon. All right, this is where Sam comes in. He does not like being in the fish room. I don't know why. We'll make sure to turn these lights back on so everyone gets sunlight for the rest of the day, and we'll open the blinds back up because we are done filming. And for fucking sure, we will pick this up and this will go up here because we do not want to knock that over. Okay. All right, so that's it for the fish room. And yeah, this is where Sam comes in. So Sammy, he just basically sleeps up on this couch all day. You lazy boy. What have you been doing all day? Nothing. Huh? Bludging. You bludging. Yeah, you're cute though. You're cute. You're just a beautiful little dog. You're exactly what everyone wants from a good boy. Except for the running away. Sam is a terrible running away boy. I've tried everything. I've tried to patch up my fence and he is just always running away. So we have to lock him inside. Otherwise he goes to the neighbours and plays with their dog, which isn't good. We don't want that, Sam. He knows when he's in trouble. It's so funny. You're not in trouble. Come on, you want to go outside? Yeah? Let's go outside and have a play. Let's get your toy. Sam loves playing as well. Yeah, come on. Yeah, good boy. Playing dog. Let's go. So, freshly mowed lawn. Finally got a lawnmower. I don't know why I put off buying one of these because I have a huge lawn, but here, come on, Sam. You ready? Okay. He doesn't want to play fetch. You don't want to play fetch? What? Okay. So, out here we've got my ponds. So the way the system works is water flows in to this sump. The sump pumps it into all of the tanks like this. So you can see I've set it all up. They all get their water in. The water overflows and rots the fence. But the fence is already rotten, so I don't care. And you like that, so you can dig underneath it. Look at, we've tried to barricade everything. And this guy is a true Houdini and can get out of anywhere, so terrible. That's a very common Jack Russell thing. But anyways, so these are the ponds. And we also have my veggie gardens here too. I'll show you guys the veggie gardens in a minute. But we'll go through the ponds. So they're just IBCs cut in half. I've put some of this netting over. The netting does not help with dragonflies at all. The dragonflies get in here and lay. Yes, there is sugarcane mulch. I was throwing it around like crazy and it's got in here, but I don't think it's going to affect anything. But this is also an Amazon sword and it's gone to flower. You can see it does get smashed by grubs, but it still survives. Look at those flowers. Did you know Amazon swords flowered like that? I bet you didn't. Yeah, so it doesn't help with that. So I do get some nymphs in here, but I don't think it affects the ponds too much. And I do have them linked up with each of them each of them have these air stones, and I think that's what saved me over summer because the water gets oxygenation. If there was just still water, I don't know if it would work as well as long as I had, well, I mean, I probably need just more plants. So I might do that next summer, but we'll see. The air's been helping for some fish, I think. So, all right, in here we have 24K gold guppies, I think. I don't see many, but they do hide this time of day. I don't know if the birds have been eating them. It does help with birds too, having this stuff, but yeah. So yeah, there's 24 karat gold guppies in here. And then there is super red bristlenose as well. I threw a pair in here, so I want them to breed, but I only added them recently. There's also honey blue eyes. I have seen some in here, but they just, I don't know, they don't breed like that well. There's a honey blue eye down there. There's the guppies. You can see they think it's feeding time. So in here I have my goldfish. I've just left these in here and I've been growing them out. They definitely spawn all the time, but I'm saving them for a breeding project I'm going to do inside in winter. So yeah. All right, here's the green water factory. And here's some new Daphnia cultures, which I have to attend to later. But the way this works is I have my turtle in here with some guppies. Now, the turtle eats the guppies, which is fine, but it makes green water. So, where are you, turtle? Here. Now this is Snap. I think she's a Brisbane river turtle. I got her from Gumtree. She was in a 4-foot tank for her entire life, and she's 11 years old, and they thought it was a boy and they called him Snap, but it's actually a her, I think. So this is Snap. Snap eats all of the guppies that pass away, but also probably some that are alive, but the guppies breed quick enough to keep the population up with Snap. And Snap's poop creates brilliant green water, so you can go back in here. She'll come out and bask on here if she wants to, but she gets plenty of sunlight, and this is the first time she's had sunlight in her entire 11 years, and I think she's absolutely loving it out here. So, yep, go Snap. But I take the black Moscow guppies to the shop all the time, and they sell really, really well. So that's also a bonus. And she eats them, and I never have to feed her. So how good is that? But yeah, this makes green water. I use this green water to feed the Daphnia and the fish inside. It's amazing. In here we have these Medacas that I got from Glen. They're very pretty. Not sure what type they are. Pretty Medacas, which I'm gonna breed up, and after summer I'm gonna crash this down and take it all to the shop, and yeah. Okay, this pond's probably the coolest one that I know what's going on in, because the water's kind of clear in here. So in here I have leopard frog plecos. I also have Campomba blue snake guppies, or endlers. So they're a wild type of endler, which is really cool. They look like this from the wild. There's a boatload of cherry shrimp, and there's also baby peppermints. So I thought I'd get baby leopard frogs, but the peppermints seem to have bred. So it's starting to get really hot out here, but the heat helps them, and they get natural water changes from the rain, and it just works out well. And then in here I have the 397s, and they did breed. If you've been watching the vlogs, I've raised up some babies, and they're in with the angels as well. So they did breed, but I'm sure there's gonna be a heap more babies when I pull this tank apart at the end of summer. So yeah. And then we'll finish up over here with the garden. So I've just redone the garden, but yeah, the water change does feed it. Look how nice it's looking. Some bananas. This zucchini is going to struggle because I've moved it. Good luck. I don't care. You can see the grasshopper's gone nuts over summer, so I'm waiting until now, winter, to try and get this back up and running. A bit of corn, dead Madagascar beans. So yeah. And then these grungy things, I've got to get them going, but the garden's coming along nice. I've just finished up planting these trees over here. There's guavas and limes and stuff, so looking really good. But yeah. Anyways, thanks for watching this video. I'm sure Sam appreciates you watching as well, and I'll see you in the next one.